First and Kim, welcome back to another episode. We are joined by a special guest, William Mason, UCO graduate going into Oklahoma State in his final year of eligibility. We want to thank William for coming on and taking this time out of his day. Spring ball just ended. They got a new and exciting team in Oklahoma State. I'm excited to interview him. He just joined me on the Zoom call and we just got to chatting. So I'm liking the energy so far, and I want to thank you for coming on again, William.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, I'm really excited to be here, get to, tell everybody like the little journey and the steps that I took to, get to sitting where I'm at right now. So
Absolutely. And like I said, Oklahoma State, big year, new coach, brand new team, new energy around the program. I think last year was one of those years where it was a fork in the road moment. You go 1-11 and you kind of just flip the page and everybody kind of just comes back and regroups. So we'll get into that. But I first want to start with your early football career, childhood, growing up in Oklahoma. Tell me more about when you fell in love with the game of football and then when you really started to take it serious.
so I went to a really small school, high school, Oklahoma, and I started like smaller INFC ball. And to be honest, I really just man, I see my dad, he played ball all the way up too. So he ended up stopping semi-pro, but man, I actually got a chance to see him play, and that's what really got me like, it got me into it because I figured out like, hey, I could really do this, and then also started, I played up at that age. I ended up playing up, so
Mhm.
a lot of the times I'm out there, it just everything just started really just moving like so fast. So when everything finally calmed down, I got the hang of stuff. I mean, everything just started flowing together, to be honest. And I mean,
Mhm.
uh, INFC ball, that right there was really all it took for me to get really hooked onto to football, honestly.
So INFC, is that like I want to say like Pop Warner, but is that like the youth like
Yeah,
program that's
that's
like in the area?
that's basically, yeah, that's like little league like football, and then we'll go out and we'll play, other teams around and stuff like that. So
So you say you mentioned you played up, and when I played football when I was younger, I played up every single year until I got to eighth grade, and that's when I finally played my own age. How many years did you play up before you finally
I
played your age?
played I played up all the way until I think it was all the way up until fourth grade.
Okay.
So all the way up
Oh,
until
you were
fourth grade.
playing up early. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah. So I played up
Mhm.
all the way from fourth grade, and then fourth grade I ended up starting to play my own age, and that's when everything that I had learned at that other level just
Mhm.
it started connecting. Everything was moving really fast, and then I got to my own age, and it was just like it was like I'm a step quicker.
Right. So what positions did you play when you were younger, or were you always a running back?
I I was not always a running back. I played
Mhm.
running back. I played line. A lot of my time I spent on defense. I played
Okay.
linebacker a lot of the time. So
Okay. Did you enjoy playing defense or were you more interested in playing offense? Or that's just kind of how things went.
man, honestly, I really did. I did enjoy playing defense because it was like it was. I think to me it was kind of like less knowledge, to be honest. Like I mean, I read through the keys, and then it was that. I mean, it was that simple. And then I was never really afraid of like physicality or contact or anything
Fair
of
enough.
that nature.
Yeah.
So playing defense kind of just took over. So I was two-way all the way, basically all the way up. So
Got it. Okay. So let's get to high school now. Were you one of those guys who played varsity as a freshman in high school?
I did, yeah,
Damn.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Tell me
absolutely.
about that.
So uh, I'm not. So when we got to Kawita, I'll say they were pretty good, man. And then that was me coming from being at a two-way school in high school. And so when I got to Kuwait, I actually seen like I say true steps towards like real football. And
Okay.
so
Mhm.
I think what had happened, I think I had ended up breaking my arm. So I got into this little man. I was adventurous, man, riding dirt bikes and stuff.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
ended up
Just being a
breaking my
kid.
arm.
Yeah.
Right, right. And then I got to Kawita, and they had started me off. I think I started off on JV for like the first game,
Okay.
and it was like I didn't even,
Yeah. It
you
was
know what I'm saying? It was like
too
three,
easy.
four
Yeah.
touchdowns. Like it was
Mhm.
pretty, yeah. So they ended up, they were like, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move you to varsity, and that was really quick. And then I think right there, that's when it. I think that's when that's when I started noticing like competition and like true like competitive like other players and stuff like that. And that's what really started getting me to like lock in, start driving and focusing on my skill a little bit more too. So
Got it. Did you have any siblings, older or younger, growing up that played football at all?
no, so I don't have any brothers, but I do have four sisters. And
Oh,
so
okay.
right, my oldest sister, she went D1 softball.
Nice.
And then my sister underneath me, Deja, she's softball right now in college. Natalia is underneath her and she's in college as well for track. And then we got the baby. She don't really want to do nothing. I'm gonna be honest. You know how that
Yeah,
goes.
I know how it goes. I got younger siblings, and the youngest one, they kind of they play sports
They
for a little
just
bit, burn out, they get interested in other stuff. Parents are a little more lenient on them. It's like,
right.
yeah, I understand that for sure. So,
That's exactly what happened.
yeah, let's jump to like so high school. I'd imagine if you played varsity as a freshman, sophomore, junior year, you're starting to get looks by the end of your junior year. Probably had some looks. So going into your senior season, what was your mindset? Because I'm assuming your offers were probably at the UCO level, or did that start to come more so after the year and after the senior year?
So I would definitely say so. End of junior year, I was definitely getting reached out by like I would say that was when it all started with like bigger. I started noticing bigger schools interested. I would say, and then
Hmm.
the littler schools they were definitely overly interested. They were
Right.
showing up at the facility, stuff along that nature and
Hmm.
stuff. And I think from where I started from, I didn't know too much about like the whole recruiting and the whole all that process and everything like that. So, I say going into my senior year, I was more focused on just like let's play. Like
Right. Yeah.
I'm just play football, man. And so I definitely knew that there was like clout and a little bit of like hype around, what I'm saying, me playing for Kuita and stuff, and I could definitely see it.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, I would say I definitely didn't know like too much about what I was doing. So I was just playing football, man.
So what was the population of Coweta? You said it's a small school.
I mm, I don't know the actual population, but they were I think they're 5A. So
Okay.
they're definitely bigger than the school I was at, but not as
Right.
big as a Bigsby or Jinx.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm assuming what other D2s did you have? And then did you have anybody else in MIAA that was recruiting you coming out?
I did actually. I had a couple in the MIAA, and then a lot of them were linebacker offers. Like I say the most heavily back and forth one was probably Fort Hays, Kansas. That one was,
Okay. Yep.
you know, I went up there for my visit, man, and it snowed. So, we took our little field pics in the snow and it was just,
Right.
man, it was just a
Yeah.
great time.
Hmm.
So, but I would say when UCO offered me, they were just so like that was I already knew like they had came up to the school, pulled me out of class and everything, and I was just like, like what's up? Like I didn't at the time I didn't really get a lot of there wasn't really a lot of like people showing up to the school yet.
Right.
So when UCO did that, it kind of just took me by surprise, and man, I went on my visit there and I noticed I'm like, this is a D2, but I mean, this is like everything they have here is so like it's up to date. It's a nice standard. The weight room nice, field's nice.
Right.
It's a
Yeah. So I interviewed a guy from Grand Valley State, and I'm sure you know of Grand Valley State, and they got
yeah,
good facilities too. And for the audience, for people who don't know, the MIAA is probably, if not the best D2 conference, in America. It probably averages out team by team as one of the best D2 conferences in America. And with the transfer portal now, guys are getting plucked left and right from these schools. And so you go to UCO, you said the facilities are great, and you like it there. What is your first impression of being now a college football player? Did you have that welcome to D2 moment? Like, I gotta get right.
Yeah, I definitely think that mine more so didn't come from. I'll say mine more so didn't really come from the field because I didn't really, it wasn't really like on the field. I was just still able to do what I was able to do, and
Mhm.
so I would say I really saw the difference in the weight room though.
I got it.
That was definitely like I seen size difference. I seen like a lot of guys moving a lot more weight, and it was just
Mhm.
like wow, like this is what I need to, this is what I need to look like. You know what I'm saying? Like this is how I need to build my body up, and this is the steps that I need to take. And I think that's definitely where my like welcome to college moment came from. So
That's dope. So going into your freshman year, you guys go 5-6 that year. You play 7 games. You had 6 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown. Can you take the audience through the process of being a true freshman running back
right.
and you're not redshirting, but you're not starting. So and you're kind of in this tweener spot of okay, I can use this year to if somebody gets hurt or whatever, then I'm right there. But I'm also burning this year by playing. You played 7 games. Can you tell us like your mindset going through that year?
I to be honest, man, I really where I was at, I really liked the experience, man. Like I wasn't afraid to put my head in there on special teams. And I think that's what
Okay. Yeah.
really I feel like that's what really carries a lot of players through football is special teams, man. Like obviously they had older backs there already, and I
Mhm.
mean I'm just fresh out of high school, so I'm thinking I'm coming in like, nah, I'm finna play,
Right.
But at
D2.
the
Yep.
same time, it's levels to it. So
Absolutely.
started off on I started off on the special teams units, man, and I just I played defense, so it wasn't nothing new to me. So
Right.
we'll go down there, make
Excellent.
plays, just constantly just touching the field. Cause I always in my head I'm thinking, if I'm touching the field right now, then the experience, the gameplay, the speed of the game, everything's gonna start, feeling normal to me. So that's how I was looking at it.
Okay, and so that's a good answer because a lot of guys, especially at the D2 level, you know, either if you redshirt at a D2 level, a lot of guys are probably looking to transfer, and some guys who don't get as much playing time as they assume or maybe they are entitled to think that they're supposed to get, it kind of messes with their head a little bit. And so you going on special teams, I think there's a lot of people off in the audience who play football or going into college, like especially if you're a freshman, that shouldn't be anything that you should shy away from, and it's only going to make you
Right.
tougher, and it's only going to put you on the coach's good side. I mean, for nothing less. So. What is your mindset going into sophomore year? How many guys graduated from the roster at running back? Because we're going to get into UCO that, it's the most historic year in the school's history. I went back at least 20 years and the best record was 8-4. So tell me going into sophomore year, what is your mindset? Are you expecting to start slash split reps or what was the case going into that spring and then heading into that fall camp?
So I definitely say starting was like that was my number one, like that was my number one thing all the time is like I just wanted to be like that. I wanted to be that guy,
Yeah.
And so with UCO, I feel like, man, we definitely had, I think we had backs graduate, but the backs that we still had there had also been there for, 2 years already too. Like they had came out of high school and just went straight to UCO.
Hmm.
So man, I think going into fall camp, my head was more of on like, man, do when your opportunity arrives, do what you can do with your opportunity, man. And I think going into fall camp, I showcased a lot of, skill and ability to, even though I was a little bit, still adapting to the game,
Hmm.
I think it showed that I can carry the weight of being a 2 deep or 3 deep running back, And
Right.
so um man, I think and I think that was like a true first fall camp for me because my freshman fall camp, that one was more of like just getting to feel everything, just running through everything. This one
Right.
was more of like, hey, settling in and finding the rhythm of like the team and figuring out what to do and how to read certain things, man. So
Absolutely. So you said getting in the weight room was your freshman year was your biggest thing. going into your sophomore season, what was the one skill, one thing of technique that you really wanted to hone in on that you know for a fact that you got better at
So are you saying weight room wise? Or are you saying like on the
on the
field?
field, not even weight room?
Ooh, oh, absolutely. The hip, man, the hip drops, man. Hip drops, bro. Like
Can you explain to
that's
the audience real quick for anybody that doesn't know what that is?
so absolutely. So like I would say, man, if you it's easier for you to make a cut if not standing straight up. You know, the
Right.
lower you are to the ground, you know, changing direction propel you forward. So like just going into that, because my coach, he actually told me, he was like, you know, it'd be easier for you to make these cuts, you know, being a bigger back if you were lower to the ground. So that whole summer, me and him, we got together and we worked hip drops, and that was, I think that was the biggest thing, man. Like it was like a before fall camp thing, after fall camp thing, like after practice, early morning. It didn't matter because we knew that doing the hip drops would significantly, like, it would carry us, man. It would help us a lot. So
Yeah. I think that's really cool. I personally was a college basketball player. I played football a little bit. I like played basketball and football in the same year, but ended up sticking with basketball. But the one thing I would say about basketball, the training and how good it's gotten and how universal it's gotten has led to a lot of really good like youth basketball players coming up in America. And I would say about football training is that what I've seen over the past maybe it started in the pandemic or maybe a little bit after that, but training specifically for running backs, I feel like took a leap. And what you see on Instagram or YouTube, a lot of the technique, a lot of things that the guys are working on has really translated into a plethora of really, really, really good college running backs now going into the NFL. And what you talked about with the hip drop, a lot of people I'm sure people will see it on Instagram or see it at some point, but that is one of the essential things as a running back, keeping your pad level low and getting through a line of scrimmage because it gets physical. And now that you're in the Big 12, it is even more physical. And so getting back to your sophomore season, you guys go 11-1. You guys are undefeated up until you play Pitt State.
stay.
Tell me about because 72-0 versus Langston the first game. It wasn't the only 70-point game of the year, and we'll talk about that later. But can you tell me what it was like sophomore year, first one of the year, 72-0, you guys are rolling, and you guys don't lose until homecoming at Penn or against Penn State.
Man, okay, the energy, bro. The energy going into it was just, it was crazy. Like we had worked so hard getting to the like the start of the season, and we just knew that like the work that we had did we knew it was gonna profit us on the field. So I think we all went out there with the confidence in, I think, more in like each other, bro. Like we had went through so much that summer
Mhm.
and stuff, man, to like guys communicating on just like getting up and making it to practice together. Like we built what we built there, I think drove us to getting to that point, man. We came out week one against Langston, and man, we had some outstanding plays that were just, man, we had some crazy plays that were just, man, it was hype, you know? And
Mhm.
that energy from that game, that week one game, I think carried us through a lot of the season, man. We were just, you know, trusting in our guys, trusting in abilities, and trusting in like all the work that we did leading up to that point. So
I like that. It sounds like the accountability and just the respect level from everybody on the team, the buy-in was 100% there. And usually when you have a team that starts out like that, it's because you guys had a really good summer. Everybody was kind of on the same page. You had 150 rushes for 827 yards, 7 touchdowns. Just tell me about really being a premier back now. And you had a lot of really, really good games. I mean, you had Nebraska Kearney, you had 27 rushes for 133 yards. Washburn, 10 for 104. A couple more 80s in there. Can you just tell me about some of those games and your mindset going from week to week?
I think, okay, yeah, week to week it definitely varied because, man, we had a shout out my boy Jalen, man. He taught me, that boy, he taught me so much, man, because he was an older back. So a lot of the times, you know, I looked at him for, you know, a little bit of advice on, you know, certain things, man. And I think he had gone down in the Nebraska Kearney game.
Mhm.
So 27 carries. I mean, you don't really see a lot of backs getting 27 carries like that.
Right.
So that was the
Absolutely.
it was definitely the first game I had gotten that many carries. But I think that was going into that game. I knew that Jalen was a little bit banged up, and I was like, this could be an opportunity for me to show that I can carry that load. And I
Mhm.
mean, I think I took that opportunity and I jumped on it, man. And
So
so
that's great. One thing I'll get to when we're talking about Oklahoma State in this upcoming season is for me one of the biggest. I'm a big, huge proponent in having multiple backs in the backfield. Two backs, it could be three, but you having two really good backs that could start for whoever team. I think that's what takes an offense to the next level. And so, tell me about being in a two-back backfield and kind of having to put your ego aside for the betterment of the backfield and the betterment of the team.
I think, man, like I think it's just like you said it, man, for the betterment of the team. I mean, obviously, what man, if it's for the team, we would do what we had to do, and
Right.
I don't think when it's a two back scenario that it should be ego involved. I feel like if you guys are, if y'all are a team, then I don't feel like there should be ego involved. I know many
No.
times that I would be put in a position to, block for some other backs who are, maybe not as big as I am and stuff like that. And I don't think that's a problem at all, man. We're a team, and
Mhm.
push comes to shove, man. If you told me go block them, I'm telling you, I go block them. So
Right. So you guys get to the second round of the playoffs, and you're going up against Fair State, led by who we now all know is Trinidad Chambliss. You guys lost 78-17, and just seeing that score, I know what Fort Hays or I know what Fair State was on that season, so it wasn't like a surprise. But can you just tell me, your first game of the year, you guys literally won 72-0, and then a team puts up 78 on you. You only scored 17 points. Can you just tell me kind of how the momentum, I guess, kind of just going into that game, how it all kind of just ended really fast?
man, I think it's crazy, but I think a lot of it started. I think a lot of it started, man, before we even took off, bro. We took off, and it's sunny, great weather, and we come down to land, and it
Mm.
snowed out. It snowed everywhere. I think a lot of the guys were surprised by that. I'm born in Detroit, Michigan, so
Okay, so you're used to it.
and I visit Michigan, so like I'm like, I've seen snow and I've played in
Mm.
cold before. So when I got there, I was still, I mean, everybody knows when it's cold outside, like it's
Right.
not really surprising. So we got out there, man. And the first day we were down there, I don't even think we went to the hotel first, man. I think the first place we went was like to the practice field that they had. And man, we took off our shirts and just walked around
Mm.
just to try to get like
Acclimated.
this is what we're gonna have to play in,
Right.
And so and we get out there game day. We started, we warming up and everything. You hear a lot of guys talking, can't feel my toes, you
Mm.
put some
Yeah.
Vaseline on my arm and everything. And man, I think it just started there, man, for real. So we got out there, and like you said, 78, that's the most points I've ever seen get put up on myself. So
Yeah,
it was
that's
definitely
tough.
surprising.
That's a tough one. You did have 14 attempts for 86 yards. Um, I just hate weather football, to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of rain. I'm not a fan of snow. If it's either not the nighttime or sunny, I'm cool, man. I hate the cold in football. I'd rather it rain, but if it's gonna be cold, I'm good, man. I can't do it. I hate it.
Right.
I hate it. So, um, sometimes losing games like that, it can be kind of, like I said, a momentum killer kind of going into next year because you just got, I mean, kind of is what it is. Guys are leaving. You go 11-1. We don't really know how good this is the best that we can get. You don't ever really know. What kind of kept you? Because the portal is now a real thing, and the D2 to D1 pipeline has been started. What kept you from jumping in the portal after having a successful sophomore year?
Man, I think it was great conversations with just the people around me, and then my coach, man, shout out Coach Brooks, man. He really, it was crazy, man, because the portal had opened up, and I kid you not, uh, I had texted my coach, and I was just like, like
What are we
like
doing?
what's the deal, man? Like
Mhm.
I don't, really going forward, I really don't know what it is I should do, but I know that I could compete at this level, and I think I'm ready to compete at a higher level. And he pulled me, and he was like, hit me back so fast, like man, I put my phone down and picked it right back up, and I was just like, seeing the text, and man, we got to talking, and he was just like, I think you need to build for one more year, man. And I man, as soon as he said that, I didn't even question his decision, because that 800 yards and stuff like that, a lot of that came off of the coaching and stuff, and the techniques that I picked up working underneath him. So
Fair.
I think it was, real coaching and real advice that he gave me, because I know a lot of guys, they have a year like that, they
Out of
they
there.
instantly
Hmm.
they're out of there. And so, I mean, it was him telling me that, and then it was also me believing that, no matter where I'm at, I feel like I can do it from here. So
Yeah, I feel like D2 coaches are now in a kind of a bind with getting guys like you down, especially if you get a guy that's really good in the trenches, offensive or defensive side, those guys are getting plucked, immediately.
yeah,
What is the sentiment around the program with guys getting plucked? How do your coaches, how did they respond to it? And I mean, it's going to be super rampant now, and any really, really special player they get is probably going to be gone by the time that they're a junior or senior. How do they react to that kind of becoming a real thing?
man, I think a lot of them have, as harsh as it is to say, it's football at the end of the day. I think we have a lot of next man up mentalities. I think I mean, that's just the best way to put it. Is football. I think a lot of guys know that, hey, we, considering the fact, I mean, he's blocking off like this. I mean,
Mhm.
we can definitely see him leaving and stuff like that. So I think a lot of coaches are building their players not to just look at who's playing in front of them, but they're building their backups as well, because they know how this is. This is football. This is how it turns out sometimes for some guys. So
I get it. That's a good answer. And I think, yeah, like you said, it's kind of just the reality of the business of the game. Like those coaches get an offer to go up another level, then it's their
right,
responsibility to take it too. And so no one's going to get mad at it. So senior year, or I should say, my fault, junior year, you guys
junior.
6-5. You had 124 carries, 735 yards, and 5 touchdowns, second team all MIAA. Can you tell me about that year, 6-5? Were you guys expecting to kind of get back to the playoffs, or did you know like, okay, we just graduated a lot of guys, this year it might be a little bit tougher?
I think, man, I think that we definitely knew that we had graduated a lot of guys, and we had graduated guys that had a lot of experience, man, and that was big, man. We lost, good O linemen, great O linemen and stuff, man, and it was just, I say it was definitely, we went through like a little bit of building. I would want to say we definitely had to start building a little bit, because the talent that we had lost, man, it was a lot of it was a lot of experience.
Hmm.
A lot of guys don't come into this with like a lot of experience, man. They don't know certain things that a lot of the older guys will know, man. And I think
Right.
we lost some people that had true experience on the team. And man, I think that we had knew that we were gonna lose these guys, but I think a lot of us had just overlooked that fact and just kept going, because at the same time, people leaving mean other people getting a chance and opportunity to play. So, you know, but
Yeah.
then again, you got the experience factor. You don't ever really know. So
Right. That's a good answer. So now you guys went 6-5, but you had some really good games. Central Missouri, 21 attempts, 168 yards. Fort Hays the next week, 19 for 119. Northeastern, 15 for 102. You had a 12 for 99, first game against UT Permian Basin, you went for 9 for 107 and a touchdown. So a solid year from you. You get to the end of the season, and is at this point, do you kind of know like, okay, now it's kind of my turn to kind of go through this portal process, and this is kind of just what's expected right now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I got to the end of that season, man, and it didn't even it was so crazy, man. I seen everybody around me they were so quick to, hop in. And man, I really sat there and I was really just thinking about it because I feel like hopping in the portal, man, I feel like the grass isn't always greener on the other side, you know? So I waited it out a little bit, man, and I had guys in my ear, hop in, hop in, hop in. And I
You
think
did, you did, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to ask you because the guy I interviewed last night, he hopped in like I think 3 or 4 days after the season ended, which I'm like, do your business. But you're saying that you waited a little bit, and I understand that you're kind of feeling like not you're like you're turning your back on these people, but you put in so much work and they've put in so much effort into you to kind of just up and leave to a better option. It's kind of just
right.
feels like I like the fact that you hold that integrity a little bit, but now you're in the portal. You enter the portal January 2nd after weeks on of kind of deliberating with coaches and teammates. Tell me about your final decision that you ended up going into the portal. Did you feel good about it? And then what was the communication like on your phone when you entered?
I think I felt, yeah, man, I felt really by the time I made my decision, I felt really supported through it because not only was I talking to like, family members and stuff like that, but man, I had talked to my head coach, man, and that was the most reassuring thing, just because I, like you said, man, I felt as if we were building, I came into UCO building like a family there, man, and
Yeah,
so that uh that decision to hop in the portal, it really feels like you do turn your back on the people around you. But you know, I uh I had a really good conversation with my head coach, man, and it reassured me that, at the end of the day, football is a business, man, and this is you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, man. And so I think I think when I jumped in the portal, I think that was probably the scariest thing that I had done because I was so set on playing at UCO and everything,
yeah,
man. And then I jumped in the portal first hour. I'm just checking my phone. I'm like, bro,
mhm.
like nobody's hitting me up.
I've
And
seen.
then,
Yeah,
man,
go ahead.
by the end of the night, I was just I was overran, bro. I was just
I get
I
it.
didn't
In my notes, I see so on January 3rd, the next day, you had some mid-major offers. I guess your phone probably started blowing up that next day. And then January 4th is when Oklahoma State offered. How long did you want to ideally wait to commit jumping in the portal? Like, were you giving it a week, or did you want to commit like the next couple of days? How did you want that process to go?
I definitely wanted to I would definitely say I wanted to wait along the lines of I jumped in late. So going into it, I definitely wanted to wait like I would say 5 to 7 days, man, just
Okay.
to like I would definitely wanted to process everything. But man, jumping in when I jumped in, I just felt kind of I wouldn't say really rushed, but I definitely felt like, hey, a decision needs to, get ready to start being made. So O State offered me, man. I think that night or before they had offered me, there was just offers just rolling in, and
Hmm.
I was sitting here. I ended up getting my mom, man, because I was just like, it's so many schools I can't even really,
You
I don't even
can't
know
keep
what's
up.
going on.
Right. You can only
So
pick one, and you got 30 of them hitting you up. Yeah,
and
that's.
then you gotta mind you, then you gotta think about the visit days and flights, and then two
Mhm.
days, and then you gotta wait one day, and then it was a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I think we were set to only have like 3 or 4 visits that were being able to, getting in that little
Right.
time space, man.
Can
So
can you tell me what your mindset is now going into Oklahoma State with this brand new team, with the brand new coaching staff, and everybody around you is new. So it's not, you're just one of, maybe
Right.
12 guys coming in. It's you and everybody else is kind of looking around like, oh, this is what the locker room looks like. This is where everything is at. Like you don't really have that many guys to show you around. So what is your mindset going into
Okay, so yeah,
this?
yeah, I agree. A lot of the guys were new to O State, but a lot of the guys were new to each other though too.
That's true. North
So
Texas guys. Yep.
a lot of the guys were new to each other, and I think, man, getting there and noticing, I think I pulled up and instantly I could tell like where the little groups were like, hey, they rock with so and so, they rock with so
Mhm.
and so, you know what I'm saying? So, you could definitely tell where the chemistry was in some guys, and then other guys you could tell like we were getting in there, and then I would say we're I'll tell you, we're very confident, bro. We introduce ourselves, what's up, how y'all doing, and I think it just starts from there. Like we
Yep.
know who you want to be around and stuff like that. And man, I feel like they were very accepting of everybody who came in. And I think going into spring ball, the only thing I could think of was competition. I'm gonna
Yeah,
put it that way.
absolutely. For
That's
sure.
that's the only thing I think competition, man.
So you guys had 55 total commits from transfer portal and high school, which ESPN, I think somebody ranked you guys like sixth in the country. You guys have a huge volume of guys coming in, and then North Texas brings in Caleb Hawkins, their guy from last year. Can you tell me going into that running back room, what's the energy like in the first initial couple days?
First, I think coming into it, we're really trying to figure everybody out, to be
Yeah.
honest, because yeah, we had high school Katie Jones come in, and then I came in, and man, I didn't when I heard of North Texas, I didn't really think of much, to be honest. But then I get there and I figure out Caleb Hawkins, and I'm like okay, I'm like figuring everybody out in the room, man. And I think where we were at that day and where we're at now, man, it's completely different. And so it's really surprising how far we've come as a running back room together. And I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people look at it as if like, hey, like they had each other throats, and really we taking advice and learning from each other to better ourselves. So I think that's like a really big thing, man.
Yeah, I think the one thing about running back, it's kind of it's a situation where kind of everybody has to at least go into spring and fall camp prepared to play and at least prepared to get some meaningful reps in practice because you
Right.
just never really know what can happen. And so I asked you what your biggest thing was going into your sophomore year at UCO. What's the biggest challenge that you've had to face going from UCO to Oklahoma State? And my first initial guess to me would be like picking up blitzes or something like that. What is the biggest challenge that you've had to face kind of on field?
That's definitely number one, man. I mean, it's real football. It's Big 12 football now, man.
Yeah.
You run into the right to pick up the nickel, but you gotta scan backside corner safety to, whoever's in the backside. So it's definitely, I'd say that's my number one thing right now. But the coaching at this level is also different than it is. It's a little bit different than it is at D2, I would say. And so picking up on this stuff it's not as hard as like you would think it would be. You go out here
Mhm.
one day and coach tells you like, hey, scan backside before you run front side and pick up the nickel. And I tell you, I mean, you better do it,
Right.
or
Yeah. Somebody's
you better,
gonna get hurt, and that's a good way to get put on the
yeah.
bench. That's, I mean, you guys, Eric Morris's offenses are known for putting up huge numbers. So, what's the difference in the tempo and like in the creativity?
Man, I'd say there's definitely a lot of creativity, man. And it's definitely stuff that I didn't even imagine myself, what I'm saying, doing, being 6 foot, 220,
Mhm.
what I'm saying, coming in motion and stuff. It's a lot of different things, man. And I definitely think that, I think we're gonna be electric, bro. Absolutely.
I love that. And so, and I'll ask about I ask about the QB next, but I wanted to go back to the question of what do you think? Now you said your hip dropping was the big key in you getting to that next level. What is the one thing that you, or maybe the coaches have had you focus on this spring that you either one need to get better at or that you have improved on since you arrived there?
I would definitely say like, man, the feet in the ground speed, like how long your feet are in the ground coming off a cut or coming off a jump cut, or how quick you can get back started from when you stop, man. I think that's like the biggest thing, acceleration, man, because
Mm.
you make one guy miss and you still got 10 more flying right at you,
Yep.
so you got to get going.
Oof, you had that move in your film. Oh my God, who was that against? You know the move I'm talking about. I saw that. I was like, oh man, you made that dude. I was like, ooh, that was bad. That was, and for a guy your size to be running like that, I was,
Right.
I was shocked at that one. I was like, okay, yeah, that's somebody saw that and was like, yeah, there, that was it right there.
Right. I
Um,
think that's definitely what surprised a lot of people was
mm,
me being able to do that at 6'1", 225, you know?
mhm. So, what was your welcome to D1 moment so far this spring?
Hmm. So I would definitely say, man, shout out the linebackers, man. They definitely it's a difference, man. It's a difference how people play the game at this level, man, technique wise. And I think my biggest welcome to D1 moment now is definitely came from middle linebacker that we have. Man, gosh, what's the name? Man, I took an inside zone play, and when you see somebody one on one, you get to thinking, you're like, hey, this could be
Mhm.
that moment.
Right.
And then you start forgetting, like, hey, technique plays a lot into this.
Mhm.
So man, I went at him full speed, and lower man wins, man. He had great base. Lower man met in
Mhm.
the middle. I mean, it wasn't just a complete annihilation,
Right.
complete run over. It was a he good little contact hit, man. And it was that moment there that I knew, like, okay, we're definitely gonna have to get in the books and start working on some things, man, because it's
Yeah.
definitely they do things different at this level, man. So
Absolutely. Can you give me your first impression or first impression of Drew Mestmaker, QB?
energetic, bro.
Good.
I came in, bro. He was so energetic, man. When I met him, man, he was hype, man. Introduced he introduced himself to the whole team, man. I say leader too, bro. He leads the whole team, man.
Good.
Like when you think of a quarterback, you would definitely think of somebody like Drew. So he he always comes to practice with his best foot forth, man, and he brings a lot of guys up around him, man, every day. You see it every day, because I think it was a week, man. It was a week we had called Pirates Paradise, and it was terrible, bro. We was lifting and working at like 10 p.m., 11 and 12. It
Ooh.
was
Okay.
crazy, man. And now, you got Drew coming in there, eye black on, no shirt, just jumping up in the air, just lit, man, bringing everybody with
That's
him.
where it
So
starts. I like that. That's where it starts though, because whatever was the energy was last year, whatever was in this building, whoever was in this building, wipe it away. And because we can't change it. And so you guys, I mean, you guys aren't going to go 1-11 again. I think we could kind of say that. But the quarterback being brand new to everybody in a new program that he's new to with the head coach, everybody is just new. I think it's a good chance for everybody to make a good first impression. And I think even if somebody might look at like a Caleb Hawkins and see his numbers and like, oh, okay, they got their back, they got their guy, and it's like, all right, well, hold on, because one, we have a spring, we have a fall camp that we have to get through, and there's a depth chart that needs to be completed. But there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of guys, including yourself, to really make a name for yourself. And I think a lot of people going into a situation might be scared of a number of that many guys coming in. I'm not saying that guys shy away from competition, but it's kind of just a numbers game at that point. If you're bringing in 34 to 40 guys, there's only so many spots. Can you tell the audience maybe of maybe some doubts you might have had, or maybe a nervousness going into spring ball compared to maybe how you feel now?
see, so That's definitely I definitely think that's a big thing. I think a lot of guys going into spring ball would get nervous, but considering the fact if you go into spring ball as an opportunist, man, and you're looking for your opportunity, then this is where you want to be, you know? Like, yeah, you can look at, numbers and everything, around players, but at the same time, I feel like this is a new step for a lot of people. I mean, at the same time, it's football, but this is now Big 12 football, you
Right.
know? It's not we're not playing the same teams, not playing the same caliber of players and athletes, man. I definitely think it's a step up. So I feel like there's a step for improvement in everybody's, gameplay. And I think I feel like that's honestly how we all did go into the spring. I feel like we didn't go into it with like set spots, man. We went into it like, hey, let's put our best foot forward, man, and let's
Yeah.
just see how it turns out. So
I got you. I mean, that's really the only thing you can do. Like I said, everybody's new. There's really the only expectation is that we all come together and try to win more than we did last year. Because this fan base, I mean, you guys had 13,000 people at the spring game. You guys won 42-33. You had what was it? I think 6 attempts for almost like 25 yards or something like that. Obviously, stats don't matter in the spring game, but good to see that you are heavy in rotation, and that's what it's going to be this year. My last question before we get to some like little rapid fire quick questions is there a single player or position group that's kind of stood out to you so far that in the spring that surprised you?
wide receivers, like offense or defense.
It could be both. It could be both.
So yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, definitely. Wide receiver and linebackers, man. They
Right.
definitely our techniques, fundamentals, man. They're soundless. So I mean, I definitely start there. I mean, we had a receiver that had a pretty good spring game, man, and then we had linebackers who flew across the field, making plays all over the field. So man, they were definitely doing great.
Gotcha. Okay, so I do have some rapid fire questions before I get out of here. Just want to thank you for your time again. Um, which NFL running back did you look up to growing up, and or maybe which one you look up to now, and then who would you say your game most likely resembles?
So for both of the, I'm gonna say, bro, I'm gonna have to say Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, man. Those two, Christian McCaffrey, he definitely changed how I was looking at stuff. And then, you definitely cannot forget about Saquon though. Like,
Right.
bro, he was doing stuff that, nobody had ever seen. And I mean, you asked me earlier in the interview, you asked me, about like the drills and stuff. And I think the drills are adapting because of what other running backs are, doing and stuff. I mean, you see Saquon doing what
Right.
he's doing, and you're like, you can't just do a regular workout and just go out there and do
Right.
that,
And do that. Yeah. Fair.
So I definitely think it definitely starts there, man.
I think what's special about Christian McCaffrey, just him kind of by himself, I think has heightened the value of the running back in the NFL, which I think is important. If you care about NFL football and the running back position, guys like Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Derrick Henry, for how long he's been in the league and still being
Right.
elite, I think that's a huge thing. Who would you say that your game most likely resembles? And then I'll kind of give my answer, and maybe if you don't like it, then you can tell me I'm wrong.
To be honest, I mean, well, that's I would definitely say I definitely looked at myself a running style more of like a physical runner along the lines of like Derrick Henry, like I
Hmm.
definitely see myself being a bigger back, able to, have that speed and elusiveness at that, like being big, a lot of the smaller DBs and stuff, a lot of guys shoot for your legs, but then you see somebody the size of Derrick Henry in the NFL doing it, and you're just like, all right,
Yeah.
like let's go ahead and get to it.
Right.
So
That's a good answer. When I first was watching your two UCO films, I would say like a bigger like Dalvin Cook. Maybe I don't know
yeah,
if that doesn't ring a bell, or maybe that doesn't, maybe that's not accurate, but that's what I saw when I looked at you, and I was just like, okay, this guy. And then I saw how shifty you were, and I was like, okay, this guy, I'm sure he's going to be having to catch the ball a lot this year. Once he showcases that, I think that's a really, I think you're pretty complete back as far as everything else that you can do. Next question, is there anything about the D1 level that might be overrated as far as your a living situation, the facilities or equipment or just whatever the case might be? What do you think might be the most overrated thing? And then what's the best upgrade some people might not think about?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. The craziest thing that I've had to deal with this entire time is parking, man. Like, bro, it's so like you would think, hey, I'll play for OSU. Like, I'm gonna be able to park in front of the facility and walk in. No, you can't. You literally can't park in front of the facility, man. You gotta. I park all the way behind the facility. It's like a 3 to 5 minute walk all the way up there, dude. I'm
That's funny.
and I'm not complaining about the walk, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, you'd be surprised that not being able to just park in front of your own building. Like it's
That's
kind of
really
crazy.
funny. I wasn't expecting that answer. And then what's kind of the best upgrade that people might not think about? I know you guys have a crap ton of food that you guys can eat like never before, and there's always hydration and stuff around, but maybe what's one thing that's a little niche or maybe that you specifically like that people might not think about?
Hmm. Man, I ain't gonna lie, it's a couple new things I've never seen up here, man. Like I see this I see this machine that's able to like track body like helping us with, you say nutrition and stuff, but yeah, helping us with like body weight and keeping up with, the vitamins that's in our body and stuff like that. Like it's definitely nutrition like that's definitely up one.
Sure.
And then you look at it and you see like the weight side of it. We do this thing called like, what I'm saying, bod pod testing and stuff like that. And you go inside this little machine and it like breaks down everything and tells you, like what's what. And I just think, you know, getting this information and being able to fully, utilize it,
Yes.
being able to
Yeah.
actually utilize it at this level,
It
it's a
sounds
lot better.
like the analytics people and that department of
Yes.
Oklahoma State
Yes.
is because you talked about your acceleration and your foot planning and net speed from the moment your foot strikes to your next step. Like it sounds like that is the big advancement that D2s just don't have the resources for. Like let's just be honest. Like it is
Absolutely.
what it is. So I like that a
Absolutely.
lot. Um, I appreciate you joining us for this episode, man. I really enjoyed a lot of your questions. Got a big year coming up at Oklahoma State. You guys are a brand new team. It's gonna be brand new energy in that stadium. I think you guys are gonna like sell out your first game. It's just kind of the most amazing thing I've seen from a program that just went 1-11. So that's a thing in the past. You guys, like I said, I have a whole new team, a bunch of new talent in the building. Can you give the Oklahoma State fans just kind of a sneak peek of what you are about, and then what to expect from this team coming this year?
I definitely want to say to expect us to come out there and be electric, man. We're gonna start off and bro, we're gonna be on fire, man. First play of the game, dude.
Hmm.
Like I hope y'all look at me, y'all just see energy and electric and just hype and just teammate, just all around great guy, great player, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And just go Pokes always, man.
Nice. You guys open up the year with Tulsa on the road, and then you guys play Oregon at home
Yeah.
in Stillwater. That is going to be super electric. Oregon with Dante Moore coming back, and the expectation of that program losing in the playoffs versus you guys now being on the rise. Can you tell me just kind of your expectations when you saw that schedule or that game on the schedule second week?
Yeah, I mean, I I seen everybody on the schedule,
Yeah. Yeah, great answer. Yeah.
I seen everybody on the schedule, man. I'm not looking at anybody in specific. I'm just looking at straight competition, and I think that's what a lot of the guys on this team is looking at it as the same. I mean, we just bro, we're ready to we want to play ball, man. And I think it doesn't matter who it is that lines up on the other side of the ball, man. We can't wait. But we know for sure that there's gonna be some games that's gonna get there's definitely gonna be some games that's gonna be hype, man. And man, we honestly cannot wait for that atmosphere. So
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to appreciate you for coming on. For our audience, William Mason, great guest. Make sure we follow him on Instagram and all of his socials. I'll be putting that in the description and on the screen right now. Let's just thank him again for our time. And William, I really appreciate you joining. Thank you, man. And we'll get this episode out this week, and then I'll be talking to you later. And big season coming up, man. I really appreciate you joining us.
absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yep. Thank you, man.